It is our last official lesson, year 9. Next lesson we'll do some sort of quiz or something to celebrate the end of term. But in the meantime, we're just going to finish off this skill for today. So last lesson we were reminding ourselves how to simplify fractions algebraically. So we've got something like this. Remember, we kind of treat each part individually. So I cancel the 40 and the 32. So I look for common factors. I know that 8 goes into those. So that's going to be a 5 on the top and a 4 on the bottom. The x squared, well, I can cancel that. X will cancel out one of those x's, which will change that to x to the power of 1, which is the same as x. This y on the top is going to cancel out one of those on the bottom, so it's going to change it to y squared. So I end up with 5x over 4y squared. Being very careful that I've done it kind of quite scruffily there, so just make sure you're doing that nice and neatly. Then you should obviously pick a value for x and y, shove it into your original, shove it into this, and make sure it gives you the same value. Next, I looked at ones that looked a bit like this. So the first step, remember, was to factorise it. So look for common factors. So let's do the top first. So I'm going to take a 4 out, and I'm going to take a c squared out, and I'm going to take d out, and then that leaves me with 2 minus 3c squared d squared, I believe. Let me just check that. That's going to give me 8c squared d, yep, minus 12c to the power of 4d cubed, yep. So that's my check for that one. And underneath, there's no factorising to do. It's just that. And now I can do some cancelling out. So 4 over 24, that's going to cancel down to 1 and 6. This c squared is going to cancel out 2 of those, so that's going to c to the 1, or just c, and d is going to cancel out 1 of those, so d cubed. So actually all of this first bit has disappeared, or turned into 1 actually, more accurately. So I'm just left with my bracket over 6 c d cubed. And that is me simplifying that completely. Again, pick a value for c and d, put it in your calculator in that, put it in the calculator in that. It does take a bit of time, but you can, the more you do it, the quicker you are at doing that. And it's just, again, a surefire way of checking if you've got the right answer. And I'm just looking at that. Does the top factorise at all anymore? No, it doesn't, so I can't do any more cancelling out. Right, so we're going to take this to the next level and look at questions a bit like this. So simplify x squared y plus xy over xy plus y. Now, similar to what we did in the last example, your first step with any of these, and please write down these steps, first step is always going to be factorise as much as possible. Okay, so let's do that. Let's factorise the top. All we can do there is take some common factors out. So I can take xy out because there's an x common to both and a y common to both. Let's open up my bracket, and that on the inside I'm going to have x because that will give me x squared y plus, well, what do I need to multiply xy by to get xy? 1. Check by that by expanding. X squared y, brilliant, plus xy, brilliant, done. At the bottom I'm going to take the y out because that's the only common factor. X plus 1. Oh, and look at that, we've got a common factor. So we didn't really look at this last time, but we can treat this as an individual unit, so just as if it was a letter. So we could imagine that as xyz over yz, because it's xy times that bracket, and it's y times that bracket. So we can actually just cancel that down. So that is our other step, is cancel common factors. Well, and that means we can actually cancel brackets as well. So that's going to cancel out with that, and actually that's going to cancel out with that, and actually that's just going to leave me with x. It seems very strange, but if I substitute values into the original equation, it should just leave me with the x on its own at the end. Okay, so step 1, factorise as much as possible. That might be a linear like they are here, it might be quadratic, it might be a mixture of both. Here is another example of that. So here all the factorising has been done already. So think about how this would cancel down, simplify, have a go. Right, so we can just cancel these two out. And you're just left with x plus 6 over 1, but that is just, of course, x plus 6. If you want to imagine it, you could imagine that as, for example, like AB over B. It's kind of the same concept there. How about this next one? So what do you think that will cancel down to be? Well, the x plus 2 cancels on the top and the bottom, and you're just left with x minus 3 on the top and x plus 3 on the bottom. And I can get rid of the brackets there because I've got rid of any multiplication that's going on. And finally, this one, have a go. Well, hopefully we took the kind of just pushed it on a little bit and went, right, okay, well, the x plus 2 and the x plus 2 is going to cancel. The x plus 3 and the x plus 3 is going to cancel. So it just leaves me with x plus 1 over x plus 4. And as a reminder, please do not let me ever see you do this. Oh, let's cancel those x's out. Please never do that. You cannot do that. That means that this whole thing cancels down to a quarter, and we know that can't be the case just through a simple substitution. So these are the ones you're more likely to get in an actual GCSE exam. So the top, let's talk through this one. Well, actually, pause it, have a go. Right, so step 1, factorise as much as possible. Well, the top, remember, first step with any factorising, take out any common factors you can, or I can take an x out, and that leaves me with an x plus 1. And I can't do anything else with that. That's as simple as it gets. Factorise the bottom. So I need two numbers that multiply to give me the 2. And that when you add them, give me that 3. And not too difficult. Plus 1 and plus 2. Do that. So that bottom simplifies to x plus 1, x plus 2. And this is the thing, when you get questions like this about simplifying algebraic fractions, you should expect there to be brackets that cancel. Okay, if you don't, I would recommend you check your working out because you've probably done something wrong. It's very unusual to get no simplification at all. Okay, so, but that cancels with that, which leaves us with x over x plus 2. Okay, pause the video and have a go at this one. All right, so same steps again. Let's factorise the top. So we're factorising a quadratic. So something times something equals minus 6, and something adds something equals plus 1, because that's the number in front of x. Well, 3 and minus 2 works by my reckoning. So the top is, you've got one bracket is x plus 3, doesn't matter which order it is. The other one is x minus 2. How about the bottom one? Hopefully we started recognising these a bit more. That is the difference of two squares. We've got something squared, take away something squared. So if you remember, that factorises to x plus 2, x minus 2. If necessary, you can go down along the route of all two numbers that multiply to give me minus 4 and add to give me 0, and you get the same result. And again, lo and behold, we've got some common brackets at the top and the bottom. So that leaves me with x plus 3 on the top and x plus 2 on the bottom. And that is my final answer. It's as simple as it gets. Okay, have a go at the work I have set for you on the assignment. Please let me know on the Google Meet if you need any support. Please come to me. The very few people do, and it's good for me to be able to help you rather than you really struggling. I'd rather you get more questions down and understand it. So good luck, and I'll speak to you later.